Coming up on Network Africa, South Africa hosts the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken as he co-hosts U.S.-South Africa Strategic Dialogue with Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor. Will travel rush in Kenya as citizens make last-minute bookings ahead of August 9th general elections. Plus, Chad's leader and rebels sign peace deal in Qatar ahead of the national dialogue. Hello and welcome to the program. Today, I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend.
On Sunday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived South Africa for the first leg of his three-nation tour of Africa.
Three of our wonderful Mandela Washington.
He visited the Johannesburg Hector Peterson Museum and Memorial in the township of Soweto, once home to South Africa's first democratic president, Nelson Mandela. The museum is named after Hector Peterson, who was just 12 years old when he was shot and killed by police during the Soweto uprising of 1976. Mr. Blinken laid a wreath at the site and was accompanied on his tour of the museum by Peterson's sister, Antoinette Sitole.
This is such an incredibly powerful, moving experience, but all the more so because to be guided by Antoinette gives it particularly special meaning, and thank you so much for sharing with me, sharing with us. Hector's story is one that really resonates because we have our own struggle for freedom and equality in the United States, and South Africa's story is unique, but there are also so many common elements, and that resonates powerfully.
He also toured the museum, which contains artifacts, photographs, and videos of South Africa's struggle against apartheid, and met young African leaders from the Mandela Washington Fellowship. On Saturday, the two top contenders to be Kenya's next president held their final rallies as months of frenetic campaigning comes to an end. Deputy President William Ruto and veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga will go head-to-head on Tuesday's election, what is said to be a tight vote. Ruto has pledged to reduce borrowing and stimulate small enterprises to help drive growth and generate revenue.
We will overcome. Enough is enough, and freedom is coming. On Tuesday, the people of Kenya will prevail over the deep state. The people of Kenya will prevail over the system, and we are going to have a nation that leaves no Kenyan behind.
Odinga, who is incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta's preferred successor, has pledged to renegotiate terms of the debt.
Fellow Kenyans, as you go to the ballot on Tuesday, I want you to know that we as a country are at inflection point. Either something very good will happen or something terrible will happen. Let my people go. Free them from bondage of thieves. Free them from the bondage of liars. And free them from the chain links of corruption.
On Tuesday, 22.1 million voters will now choose the next president, as well as senators, governors, lawmakers, women representatives, and some 1,500 county officials.
Well, South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, is hosting the Secretary of State of the United States of America, Mr. Antony Blinken, on the occasion of the South Africa-United States Strategic Dialogue. The meeting is taking stock of South Africa's bilateral cooperation with the United States, with particular focus on the trade and investment, education transfer, health, climate and energy safety and security, as well as regional and global issues of mutual interest. Although there have been global challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, bilateral relationships between South Africa and the United States of America is built on peace and prosperity and is the foundation of strengthening this relationship. Anthony Blinken's trip to South Africa is his first leg of his tour to 3 African countries. He'll also be going to the DRC and Rwanda in the coming days.
I believe, Mr. Secretary, that our strategic partnership, which is based on common values and aspirations, is the foundation for our strengthening of bilateral relations between our 2 countries. Our gathering here for this strategic dialogue, after a quiet period of almost 7 years, as well as the arrival of Ambassador Brigati, presents an opportunity for us to reinvigorate our relations on the various fronts I have referred to. I believe we should place economic recovery for Africa at the front and center of our agenda. The implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and the convening of the AGOA Forum in South Africa next year present both our governments, our private sectors, and civil society with numerous opportunities to advance our trade and investment relations. We really hope that on our path to economic recovery, we will ensure that both South Africa and the United States of America do not leave behind women, youth, and the disabled.
We have between us a long history of cooperation, from regional peace and security, to promoting democracy and global health, to shaping our technological and economic futures. And our shared values and interests extend beyond our 2 governments. They're woven through the fabric of our societies, through partnerships between our private sectors, exchanges between our cultural and educational institutions, and especially ties of friendship and family among our people, especially our young people. So, to conclude and say simply, as we hear from our colleagues, my team and I very much look forward to continuing to work closely with you to overcome the challenges that we both have to face, to engage frankly and meaningfully on issues where our views might differ, and to chart a course toward a promising future that will benefit the people of both South Africa and the United States, and I think beyond.
Well, our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia joins us now for more on this. Hello, Betty. Many see Mr. Blinken's trip as the U.S.'s efforts in countering Russian influence on the continent. And now he's in South Africa, which is, both allied to the U.S. and Russia. Talk to us about what was discussed, more at the meeting. And also, we know that South Africa has been somewhat on the fence with regards to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And that's one thing U.S. has also, wanted to talk to South Africa about.
Well, everyone knows what's behind the tour, but beyond all the nice things that have been said, we know that South Africa, both countries are major trade partners between each other, and all the areas of cooperation, as you listed, trade and investment, health, and all that. The U.S. is of PEPFAR, that's the U.S. President's Emergency Fund for AIDS relief. And all that has been funded for a number of years now. And the areas of so many areas of cooperation and trade as well. They may not agree on a lot of things on the global political scene, but it's not a relationship they want to throw away. So they're talking that, and we know that beneath all the words being said, it's all America's, the U.S.'s efforts to reinforce their influence against what China and Russia already have here. So others see, or the analysts see what's going on, and both countries are agree that there are areas that they agree on and the areas that they don't. And as Minister Naledi Pandor of South Africa said, probably the meeting will help them understand, each side understand better the areas that we disagree.
Oh, he landed on Sunday, and one of his first port of call was the visit to the Hector Peterson Museum and Memorial. And there he compared South African struggle for equality to the U.S. Well, how are South Africans reacting to this and, his visit in general?
Well, there's so many socio-economic problems going on. The illegal miners issue is very, very topical, and that's what's seizing the attention of many people. As I'm speaking with you, some areas are being burnt right now by communities who believe some of these places are being occupied by the Zamazamas or illegal miners. But there are those who are interested in this visit, and they've welcomed the visit as well, and they're watching. I know that one of the questions that even Minister Pando raised, and so many people are raising, is the issue of the bill that passed in the U.S. Congress, that's the House of Reps, the Countering Malign Russian Activities in Africa Act, which is yet to go through the Senate, voted 4199 majority. And they're saying, Minister Pando said it may just be an act to punish those who are siding with other countries. But Secretary Blinken has said, look, this is not it. We're not trying to say you choose Russia, China, or the US. We're just trying to say we're providing another choice, for who wishes to look. That's one issue that I know that people are seeking answers to, or explanations, to. But generally, people have welcomed him. At the Hector Peterson Museum, we know the history behind that, the 1976 Soweto uprising. He was received by the sister to Hector Peterson. If you know that iconic picture where he was being carried by Mr. Buiseni, Hector Peterson, there was a young girl beside them in that picture. That's Antoinette Sitole, the elder sister to Hector Peterson, who was 12 years old when he was shot dead. So he was received. He talked about the issue of the struggle for equality. We know that racism is still an issue here, as it is in America. The Black Lives Matter issue is still quite topical. So these are some of the things in that comparison that we talked about. And generally, people are okay with the visit, but they're watching to hear what he has to say regarding the revised Africa strategy or the policy, Sub-Saharan Africa policy that is expected to talk about at an event at the University of Victoria, the Center for U.S. Studies. I think that's the name of the center.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Our South African Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia. Chad's military ruler, Mohamed Idris Deby, has signed a peace deal with more than 40 opposition groups, and it's aimed at paving the way for a national dialogue later this month. The agreement, which was signed in Doha, comes after months of mediation by Qatar. However, the main rebel group, the Front for Change and Concord in Chad, refused to sign the deal, insisting that Mr. Deby excludes himself from elections. Well, Mr. Deby took over the leadership of the country last year after his father, Idris Deby, died while on the front line fighting rebels. Elections are due to take place in October.
It's important is the result which we got at the end of this long process. And I think that this agreement will lead us to a sustainable peace in Chad. And this agreement allows to all these armed groups which signed this agreement to take part to the national inclusive dialogue.
Still ahead on the program. Well, Nigeria welcomes the UK's move to return looted artifacts. Please join us again. Welcome back to the program. Authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo say rebels in the eastern part of the country have killed at least 15 civilians and an army captain during attacks on villages over the weekend. The Ituri region's military governor, Colonel Cyril Simba, says rebels from the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, were thought to have targeted Kandoi village on Friday night, killing 10 people. Another attack in nearby Bandiboli on Saturday left 5 others dead. A UN expert group says it has evidence that Rwandan troops have been fighting alongside one of the rebel groups known as M23. However, Kigali government has constantly denied these accusations. All 4 soldiers and 2 civilians have been killed in a militant attack in Mali's northern Gao region, where French Barkhane forces are winding up their operations. The Malian army, FAMA, says 5 militants were also killed as they repelled the attack on Tessit town on Sunday. The raid took place as Barkhane troops prepared to close their last helicopter hangar in Gao ahead of a final withdrawal from the Sahel nation at the end of August. Mali has severed defense cooperation with key regional and international stakeholders and is involved in a standoff with UN peacekeepers, and that's foreshadowing further deterioration in regional security. Well, this has been worsened by the deployment of Russia's Wagner mercenaries in the Sahel nation. Their presence has triggered threats from Al-Qaeda's Sahel branch to blockade the Malian capital Bamako and escalate attacks on the country's military rulers. A spokesperson for the rebel Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, has ruled out talks with the Ethiopian government, while people in the northern Tigray region are, according to him, under blockade. Getachew Red said on Twitter that it is not going to work. The Ethiopian government has named a 7-member team for the talks, which it once held without any preconditions. Well, the TPLF has expressed readiness, that was last month, to hold peace talks with the government, but has since demanded that the federal government allow services such as communications, electricity, and banking to the troubled region. The rebels also want the government to accept the Tigray state will have its own army. A UN panel of experts on human rights in South Sudan is calling for prosecution of high-profile government and military officials that are linked to sexual violence in the country. Andrew Clapham, one of 3 members of the panel, said the increase in sexual violence in the country is fueled by systemic impunity, and he hopes that there will be some high-level prosecution soon. The panel conducted a 4-day visit in the country last week and met senior government officials, including the Justice Minister, civil society representatives, UN agencies, and members of the diplomatic community. The experts are making follow-ups on recommendations in its report released earlier this year on widespread sexual violence against women and girls in the country. Over in Kenya, ahead of the country's landmark general elections, which comes up tomorrow, August the 9th, preparations are underway. Well, the response to the forthcoming elections is rather intriguing, as travel companies are seeing a surge in last-minute bookings and travels. Well, hundreds of passengers are trying to get home to their registered polling stations. In some areas, bus fares are said to have almost doubled due to the high demand. Well, staff from Kenya's Independent Boundaries and Electoral Commission, IEBC, they've been checking and distributing election materials to polling stations. Well, security is also said to have stepped up in much of the country, with dozens of policemen deployed to polling stations. Oh, Abi Agena is a Kenyan journalist. He joins us now for more from Kisumu. Hello, Abi.
Hello, and good evening from Kisumu City here.
Good evening. Well, it's election eve. Talk to us more about, last-minute preparations from the citizens and the Electoral Commission, especially in Kisumu where you are. That's one of the major contenders' hometown. That's where Raila Odinga is from.
Well, you rightly put it. Kisumu is the epicenter when it comes to the stronghold of one of the presidential candidates, that is Raila Odinga, who will be vying on a party ticket dubbed Azimio la Umoja. So far, we've been able to establish that the Electoral Commission has put all systems in place, and they are looking forward to a very successful election come tomorrow. So far, we've also established that security remains relatively high in this part of the country. And of course, the locals here are very excited. They're looking forward to casting their votes tomorrow. Majority of them saying that they'll be up and early to ensure that they cast their ballots in good time. And in regards to this region, we are looking at a region that commands close to almost 3 million votes, which the Raila Odinga will be keenly looking to garner and ensure high voter turnout, because it has a big impact on the vote numbers that he looks to get to become the fifth president. Of course, the contenders in the race also, we have Deputy President, the incumbent, William Ruto, who's also eyeing to get some votes from this region, especially the region that touches around Kisii, Migori, where he has been making inroads. So it will be a tight election, but of course, here in his stronghold, there's a lot of excitement in the air. Most of them saying they're basically waiting for the Electoral Commission to declare him as winner. They are confident that he has the numbers this time round, considering he also got endorsement from the incumbent president, Uhuru Kenyatta.
And what are you hearing from Mr. Deputy President William Ruto's camp also?
Well, the deputy president's camp has also been very on the spot in regards to putting the electoral commission, calling on them to ensure that they maintain a free and fair and credible election. They have, of course, raised concerns about a couple of issues. One of them being the issue around the local chiefs. They had indicated that the chiefs, he had actually alleged that the chiefs have been holding night meetings to plan for the issuance of uh, this year in Kenya, call them ID cards. So they have made several claims as to a potential plan by the government to rig elections. Of course, the government security apparatus have come out trashing these claims, saying that they have no basis, they have no evidence, and they have, of course, maintained their ground that this election will be conducted within the precincts of the law, and they will ensure that they deliver credible elections. So far, the DP's camp has also indicated that the power authority, that is the utility company, Kenya Power, allegedly plans to shut down electricity in some parts of the country where he is having a stronghold. And of course, Kenya Power, in retaliation to this, have issued a statement saying that these are also not true allegations, and they shall supply electricity across the country as deemed fit. So it's a tense moment for the country. It is the seventh election for Kenya under the multi-party system, and it will be interesting to see who will win the day, considering that both candidates have formidable numbers. In the previous elections, they have, of course, garnered some substantial numbers. So it will be a neck-to-neck race, and we shall be definitely keeping our viewers posted across the region as well as across the continent. So all eyes on Kenya, all eyes on Kisumu, and remember Kisumu County borders Raila Odinga's home turf, that is in Bondo constituency, where he was born and brought up. So we'll also be getting some reactions really from that end of town, considering this is a very important election for him, bearing in mind his age, and it is his fifth stab at the presidency. So a lot of expectations lie for the people of Bondo and, of course, for the Luo Nyanza region that is here in the western side of the country.
All right then, Abby Agina, Kenyan journalist, thank you so much. We'll be talking to you tomorrow and, to see how the elections go through. Thank you again.
Thank you too, and we look forward to interacting more.
And finally, on the program, Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments has welcomed a decision by the British curators to return artifacts that were looted in the 19th century from what was then the Kingdom of Benin. A legal advisor to the commission, Babatunde Adebiyi, says he hoped some of the 72 objects would be on display in Nigeria later this year. On Sunday, the Honeyman Museum in London said it was both moral and appropriate to give the items back to Nigeria. The items include brass plaques known as Benin bronzes and a key to the King's Palace. Well, we do look forward to receiving those monuments. Thank you so much for watching the program today. I'm Layo Olaide. See you tomorrow.